Hey everybody, today we're going to be looking through some research articles, and this is going to be a tutorial on how to read and understand different research articles. The first thing you want to do is open a browser that's going to give you access to those articles and go to a website or a database where those articles will be housed. A lot of people use Google Scholar. I've always had the best luck using my library's database. So I'm logged in here to the Ingram Library for the University of West Georgia. Go ahead and make this full screen. Today we're going to be learning about debunked learning styles. This is drawing off of a report that I've done in the past, or a project that I've done in the past. So I had a little bit of trouble learning about this and finding articles on this topic when I took a class last semester. So that's why I want to focus on this and show you kind of how my process worked. The title of my project was Debunked Learning Styles. You can see I've got it typed into the search bar here. I'm just going to hit search and we'll see what comes up. If I knew a little bit more specifically what I was looking for, you can of course add that in. I know that I want to be looking for full text and scholarly peer-reviewed articles. This is debunked learning styles, so we're definitely not encouraging belief in learning styles. We can ignore that and go down here. The Scientific Status of Learning Styles Theory by Daniel Willingham et al. So yeah, this looks like a good place to start. So we can click on this and open it up. You've got an abstract here that's going to tell us there's some questions right here about learning styles. So this is probably a good place to look for what we're doing. I'll click on that link that says link to full text. And this will give us access to the Society for the Teaching of Psychology's article, The Scientific Status of Learning Styles Theory by these authors. You can see here is an abstract excuse me, that tells you exactly what's going on in this article. You've got keywords down here: learning styles, academic achievement, cognitive style, individual differences, and teaching methods. Those are all things that were pertinent to the article the project that I was working on. So this was an article that I actually did use. As you scroll down, there's not a whole lot to it. You've just got to start reading and figuring out. You've got what are learning styles. It's kind of a introduction to what learning styles theory is. You've got predictions and data in this section. This is where the authors are telling you kind of what they're thinking and what the basis of their experiment is going to be here. Figure 1, this pattern of data would support learning styles theory, but indicate that differences in learning styles should not be accommodated in instruction. So if you keep scrolling down, there's all this information here. Why do people believe in learning styles theory? You can read that. Why all the fuss? Class activity scenario 1, and it takes you through exactly what these authors did, what they experimented, what new knowledge they were creating or trying to find out in their report on it here that goes and dives into the article. Differences in commonalities in educational practices, talking about how different teachers regard learning styles and kind of what makes their classes a little bit different. Declaration of conflicting interest and funding is right there. Those are always important. You want to know who's writing about a specific topic to really help you understand why they're coming to these conclusions sometimes. List of references is down here along with summaries of the authors. As you're reading this, you really need to take notes. That helps out tremendously. I usually line up my notes with the sections of the reading. So I would create a heading in my notes that's kind of an introduction of what are learning styles theory, and jot down a few notes right there. That helps me kind of link and take the big ideas out of this, because let's be honest, sometimes these authors are very, very wordy. They word things in ways that that require a little bit more thinking than probably necessary. So you can jot down a few ideas that you're getting from these different sections, and that'll help you kind of link it back together in your reflection. So I would create another heading here for predictions and data and write down what these authors are trying to figure out, or what they're trying to prove through their learning styles process. So that's a pretty relatively easy, straightforward way of going through and understanding an article, but I can get a lot more in depth too, because we can add in some new search terms like debunked learning styles, and if I just want to focus on elementary classrooms, so I could put primary education. And we can see if that can take us any deeper into the text or along our journey here. The internet's a little slow. Again, only looking for full text, because if you find an article that looks promising that's not the full text, that can be kind of taunting, I guess. Scholarly peer-reviewed articles. Sometimes I don't know exactly why it does this because I am logged in, but you can click log in to see this highly relevant article. Assessing the role of exposure to learning styles theories on K-12 teachers. Perfect. Okay, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You can read into this. This gives you a really good thing. This is something that is very relevant to what we're looking for. Another thing that helps you out a lot is learning the acronyms that are being used. You can see this one is going to be using several acronyms as we go through. LST for Learning Styles Theory is explained right here. Making little notes of those things in your notes can help. The VARK model right there, a lot of people, that one's not really, yeah, here it is. Which classify students as visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic learners. That's something else that you would probably need to make note of in your notes. But again, write down the headings of the article, and then put a little bit of information in there in kind of your own language and your own summary as you're reading through. That can help you out tremendously when you're going through these articles and picking out the right information. You can determine their credibility pretty quickly that way, and make sure that they've got information that is necessary for what it is that you are trying to accomplish and what you're looking for in your studies. Okay, so if we keep looking here, this one's frozen a little bit, so we can go back and look for, say, look for something else. Let's talk about maybe, let's see if we want an actual research implementation. Implementing technology here. Solutions and libraries. You can see this is way too broad. This is not what I'm going for. I want to implement technology in a social studies classroom. A social studies classroom. I think one of the keys to reading and understanding these articles is getting articles that are what you're looking for. So I think searching for these articles and finding the correct sources are some of the most important things. Just because, again, if it says that it's not there, it says log in to gain access, we can do that and see what it is. It's not something that you need to scroll over. Classroom social stations enrichment. So that's not exactly probably a really good article, not exactly what we're looking for there. Primary school history, implementing the flipped classroom policy. That's pretty much what we're looking for here. Looking at the flipped classroom in teaching history. So again, you can click on that full text link right there. Read through the abstract, figure out if this article is what you want. Look through the keywords, familiarize yourself with the acronyms that are being used in there. You can go through and read each of these sections and go through the study context. This is being done through a study. This is an actual report from a study. You can familiarize yourself with all of these different areas, with all these different things, parts of the article, and that'll help you understand so much more about what's going on, what they're talking about in the article, and let you really interpret these results in a way that can make a big difference in the amount of information that you're trying to take from the article. I hope you learned a few things from these tips. Thank you for watching.